God.
Siphethu nobhala ne-content. Siphethu nobhala. Siphethu nobhala ne-content.
Amandla.
Wethu.
Amandla.
Wethu.
Wathinta abafazi.
Wathinta ibhokoti.
Wathinta abafazi.
Wathinta ibhokoti.
Wathinta abafazi.
Wathinta ibhokodo.
Wathinta imbokodo. Thank you very much, program directors and the president of the Women's League, Comrade Pemi Majodina and Comrade Nomantu Ngomo Ralihogo, president of the ANC Women's League, Comrade Sisisi Tolashe. Wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo zakufa, finish and clear. The Secretary General of the ANC Women's League, Comrade Noktula Ngaba, the evergreen and energetic Secretary General of the ANC Women's League. Members of the National Executive Committee of the ANC Women's League present here. Members of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. Chairperson of the ANC Women's League in the Northwest, Comrade Wendy Matsimela. Provincial Secretary of the ANC Women's League in the Northwest, Comrade Nombuiselo. At once, Pastor Dr. Makhobe and members of the clergy, Omama Umanyano. The lioness from the north, the Secretary General of the ANC Youth League. The second Secretary General of the ANC Youth League, who's a young woman, Comrade Chiviti. Raw Young Lions, Raw. Daughters and the youth, comrades and compatriots. Comrades, we are deeply honored for the invitation to participate in this auspicious occasion. We gather here at the New Covenant Fellowship International Church in Rustenburg on Thursday, the sacred gathering of Umanyano. We thank God for the grace to assemble in prayer, fellowship, and service. The role of women in society has been the source of social stability. From the constituting of the family to communities and nationhood at large. It was therefore no coincidence that the role women has been composite to the broader struggle for the emancipation of our people, amongst which the focus has been on gender equality, particularly against patriarchal oppression. Accordingly, women's bravery has been in our shores characterized by the slogan, Wathinta abafazi, wathinta imbokodo. Today's Umanyano takes place on the 114th anniversary of the African National Congress, Africa's oldest liberation movement. As we celebrate, comrades, we honor the women who have carried our nation through the most severe storms in our darkest moments. The triple oppression of women based on their gender, race and class did not deter these revolutionaries in giving momentum to the struggle. It was against this backdrop that an analysis of the oppression of African women in particular will reveal the most severe of social, economic, and political oppression, as they did not only suffer as a race or class, but uniquely as women. Umanyano, mothers turned kitchens into committee rooms, hymns into hope, and prayer into programs. These are women who taught us that care is leadership and service is power. Women have borne the primary responsibility of nurturing for children, in a patriarchal society that absolved men from such a crucial and important responsibility. By so doing, women have disproportionately served not only families but the nation at large. Today, we recognize the presence of fatherhood in early child development because of the resilience of women-led struggle to dismantle patriarchy. Umanyano is more than a service. It calls us to unity with discipline, to bind the wounds of our communities, and to move from the pews into the places of need. In that spirit, the ANC Women's League implores all of us to make firm, unflinching commitment to protect women and children by standing firm against gender-based violence and femicide, and building cycles of safety, shelter, and justice for the vulnerable, to uplift families through food security initiatives, education support, and health outreaches that ensure that no household is left behind, to open pathways for young women through mentorship, skills, and opportunities, so that the leadership we model multiplies across generations. Earlier today, comrades, we cut the anniversary cake celebrating 114 fighting years of our glorious movement. This occasion symbolizes our shared responsibility to build a democratic society that is truly non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, prosperous, and at peace with itself. Umanyano is the embodiment of unity and fortitude against all that threatens both their own existence and the existence of their families, communities, and nations. Women have distinguished themselves over the ages by this holistic embrace of humanity and have therefore been the anchor for all. It means we do this work together across churches, streets, and branches, guided by faith and anchored in service of our people, with a deep commitment to making better life for all a lived reality. It is significant, comrades, that we celebrate the ANC's 114th anniversary in the Northwest, a home to many of the gallant revolutionaries of our glorious movement, who made immense contributions to the liberation struggle and the ANC. Moses Kotane, who was the Treasurer General of the ANC and a defendant in the treason trial, was born in Pela, which is now part of the Moses Kotane local municipality, named in his honor. This is also where his mortal remains are reburied. J.B. Marks was born in Ventersdorp and served as Treasurer General of the ANC and the chairperson of the SACP. He was central in organizing the 1946 African mine workers' strike and the 1952 Defiance Campaign. His mortal remains are buried in Pela with Kotane. The merged Ventersdorp municipality was renamed in his honor. Ngaka Mudiri Mulema was born in Mahikeng, which was a center of early ANC activity with strong connections to Sol Plaatje, the founding Secretary General of the ANC. Though born in Free State, lived and worked in Mafikeng. Ngaka Mudiri Mulema trained as a medical doctor in Glasgow, Scotland, and was prolific historian of Botswana, Barolo. Dr. Ruth Mumpati, a revolutionary who committed a life to the struggle in the ANC, was born in Khanyisa, Vryburg. She was a member of the NEC of the ANC Women's League, a founding member of FETSO and organizer of 1956 Women's March. She subsequently became a mayor of Vryburg, a member of parliament and ambassador to Switzerland in the democratic South Africa. Unkgopotse Tiro, a student leader who was assassinated by apartheid forces using a parcel bomb in exile, was born in Dinokana in Zirast and schooled in Mafikeng, and was later the SRC president at the University of the North, Tefluop. Kgosi Ramotseri Muilwa was the traditional leader of the Bahurutse at Dinokana. He refused to enforce passbooks for women. His banishment ignited the Zirast Hurutse uprising, a seminal rural resistance notably led by women. Josie Mpama was among the first black women to play a leading role in the Communist Party of South Africa. She led the 1928 anti-lodgers permits protests in Potchefstroom and an organizer of the 1929 and 30 anti-pass campaign. She later served as the secretary of the Transvaal All Women's Union. Mary Rebecca Kotane took part in the 1950s defiance campaign and the mobilization leading to the Congress of the People in 1955 and adoption of the Freedom Charter. She joined the historic 1956 Women's March to Pretoria, union buildings against past laws. She was married to Moses Kotane. The ANC's 114th anniversary, comrades, celebrated in this province, takes place against the backdrop of immense challenges facing our movement. The 2024 national and provincial election outcomes plunged the ANC into uncharted waters. As we prepare ourselves for the 2026 local government elections, we must work hard to unwind the trust deficit with the electorate and put our best foot forward in ensuring that our municipalities and those we deploy to the executive at all levels of the state are responsive to the service delivery needs of our communities. The local government action plan we adopted at the council roll call last year has put in place a robust foundation to turn our fortunes around at the local government level. However, comrades, in order to achieve outcomes that move the needle, which deliver tangible results, our people can see with their eyes and make them feel good about the ANC and the direction of the country, we must get all hands on deck and implement programs that improve the lives of the rank and file on a daily basis. And we know as the ANC, we can rely on the ANC Women's League. We must never make it easy, comrades, that women, whether they are mayors or premiers, that it must be easy to remove them from positions in the organization. It has become very fashionable in our organization that it is very easy to remove women from positions. And women themselves must be united and work together. I may take you to the DCCCC for opening a succession debate, but it is correct. Women must protect women and must stand for women issues and champion them in the African National Congress. We must maintain, comrades, our roads and keep them free of potholes. We must deliver water to every household. We must ensure the lights stay on in every household and eliminate load reduction by municipalities. We must ensure that from the onset, those tasked with building infrastructure, such as roads, have the competent capacity to engineer quality products that will withstand usage over an extended period of time. We must be the first, comrades, to condemn poor quality roads, built with the expediency to amass wealth and not to provide quality service to our people. In the same vein, we must intensify the fight against gender-based violence and femicide and expand survivor-centered services. And I want to deviate a bit and say to you, as the ANC Women's League, in the ANC, we must adopt a policy that defends women who are in the struggle and who participate in the organization. I was discussing with one comrade, and I said, we do not often, most of the time, appreciate the pain, the suffering women in the struggle endure in their families. They must be protected. There must be equality in our organization. Women who participate, deployed by the ANC, must enjoy the same respect that men enjoy in the organization. Our women, as I watch you every day doing the work, we see the pain, the suffering that you suffer, some of you, at the hands of people you call your partners, because they've got no understanding of a woman who is in the struggle, that particular woman in the forefront of the struggle is the woman who is actually doing the best, looking after family, building family, and being involved in politics, and coming home to look after family. Comrades, we must have a policy that protects women who are in the struggle and educate their partners about the challenges that you face, and that their partners must equally understand and appreciate your role in the organization. Today in the country, you've got 2 women premiers, and they are the best of the best. Queen Litzua in the Free State, and Dr. Popi Ramutuba in Limpopo. So, comrades, these are women premiers that we have in the ANC, and the number 2 is very low, premiers out of 9 provinces. As much as our majority has been affected, but it is important that we must make strides. We cannot drop on the question of women emancipation. Comrades, equally, we have a host of women who are women councillors and women mayors in the different provinces of our country. And that in itself must be celebrated. Comrades, there is so much more that we need to do if we were to make a telling difference in making a better life for all a lived reality. Local government is the coalface of service delivery, and we must ensure that the councillors' accountability framework holds our public representatives accountable. Delivery of services and lowering the cost of living must matter more than promises. We are under no illusion that trust is rebuilt by visible outcomes. People can feel, see, and touch. We must use Umanyano networks to amplify community feedback, loops for water, sanitation roads, housing safety, GBVF interventions. Today we celebrate 114th anniversary of our movement, which will culminate in a rally where the President will deliver the NEC's January 8 statement at the Muruleng Stadium, joining faith and tradition. As we celebrate, comrades, this momentous occasion, we must recommit to delivery of national transformation programs and accountability. We must equally ground our pledges in ward-level turnaround plans as outlined in our action plan. We have committed to expand early child development, and significant inroads have been made in this regard. But as we have said, this must not be the sole concern of women or mothers, but also of fathers. Economic inclusion interventions are critical in improving the lives of our people, with particular focus on township and village enterprise support in mining affected areas, cooperative procurement access, SMME finance, prioritizing youth and women-led enterprises. as well as leveraging the district development model to unblock permits. As we pay tribute to the women whose selfless and fearless role in the liberation carved the path to our liberation, giants on those on whose shoulders we stand, to get a clear vantage of the path we have traversed and the path that lies ahead. We must be deliberate and focused in our efforts to implement the commitments we made in our election manifesto. This Umanyano equally takes place against the backdrop of dramatic shifts in geopolitics. The recent events of the United States military adventurism into the sovereign territory of Venezuela and the abduction of a head of state and his wife from his own country have duly received condemnation from across the world, even among many Western countries. This is because it is a direct affront to the UN Charter, an assault on sovereign nation at a time when the majority of the progressive global community is looking for stability and the advancement of multilateral order. The African National Congress condemns these recent acts of aggression directed at the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, which constitute a serious violation of international law, national sovereignty, and the principles governing peaceful relations between states. The ANC expresses its solidarity with the people of Venezuela, who continue to endure sustained political, economic, and diplomatic pressure as a liberation movement forged in struggle against colonialism, apartheid, and external domination. The ANC recognizes that such aggression is seldomly accidental. It is often driven by contests over strategic resources, control of markets, and resistance to the independent development paths chosen by sovereign nations of the global south. It is disheartening that a woman was allegedly brutally assaulted by male security officers, and we should duly demand that the United States government clarify these allegations and, if needs be, take accountability. The struggle for women is not only a South African affair, but an international struggle. To that extent, comrades, we have resolved to organize an anti-imperialist aggression march in South Africa, which will be led by the African National Congress. We invite both the ANC Youth League and the Women's League to join the mobilization and the conscientization of our society. Comrades, we cannot be bullied. We cannot act like we are vulnerable. We cannot be helpless. We must stand up and fight and defend our sovereignty, which is South Africa. We don't have two passports in this country. We are Africans. We've got only one passport. Connie Melda have got the luxury to say what he says because he's got two passports. We've got one passport, and that passport is South Africa. And this South Africa must be defended by its own people. This South Africa, led by Ramaphosa, must be defended in terms of its sovereignty. The Women's League must come with us as we defend the sovereignty of South Africa and the march against imperialist aggression of the United States of America. The ANC, comrades, reiterates that international law must be respected by all states without exception or selectivity. The principles of sovereign equality, non-interference, and peaceful resolution of disputes are the bedrock of international order. Their selective application erodes trust, fuels instability, and disproportionately harms developing countries and oppressed people across the globe. In taking this stance against the illegal invasion and illegal abduction of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Adela Flores de Maduro, we stand on the broad shoulders of Nelson Mandela, who correctly characterized such illegal invasions. We are further inspired by Ernesto Che Guevara, who declared that, I quote, I've seen the graves of those who didn't fight, fearing they will die, close quote. It was in the same vein that we took the Israel state to the ICJ for its genocide against the people of Gaza. The words of founding father of our democracy, Tata Nelson Mandela, when addressing the Women's Day event on the 9th of August, 1996, were not only profound on the role of women, but were a firm commitment of their role in democratic society when he said, I quote, "When the women of South Africa converged on these union buildings 40 years ago, from every corner of South Africa, they created one of the enduring landmarks of our country's history. They declared that women will insist on their role in making history." Comrade Sisisi, Comrade Mandela today speaks to you as the president from the grave, and he agrees with your assertion and what you seek to pursue as the Women's League. This year, comrades, we mark 70 years of the historic march to the union buildings that affirmed the role of women, not only in the struggle, but in a democratic South Africa. This year, we also mark 50 years of Soweto uprising, a moment in our history that turned the tide of the liberation struggle. These are significant milestones that we must continue to draw inspiration and lessons from, and never allow future generations to forget the price our forebears paid for our liberation. It is therefore, comrades, fitting to conclude with another quote from Madiba, whose words must continue to guide our forward momentum as we advance towards the realization of a democratic society, when he said, I quote, "Freedom cannot be achieved unless women have been emancipated from all forms of oppression. Our endeavors must be about the liberation of the woman, the emancipation of the man, and the liberty of the child." Close quote. So ngalo mazwi ndithi amadoda makayeke unxiba iblouse yomama, mabaphume entweni zabafazi. No mama, abafazi mabazimele. ANC, yes, Women's League is an autonomy, and the Women's League has a right, but ANC does not run the Women's League. Women's League run its own affairs, and it must be respected. Ngaloma zinditi malibongo. Enkosi ndiyabulela. Thank you.